let me just come on and say, I be risking it by speaking and telling my truth, y'all, about how with this with spiritual things. And I can personally tell you that I feel like I'm being monitored more because of the gifts and because I allowed myself to be seen with my last page. And thank God that that page was hacked because it was altering my life in a lot of ways and not a good way. Stalking had started increasing and the signs and symptoms were showing up because of it. But anywho, I'm on because I've talked about in previous videos about omens and death. And I had someone a week ago from today bring up having an unexpected visitor knock at her door the night before her daughter's birthday party, and there was nobody there. And when she told me this, I kept my composure, but it scared the bejeepers out of me, y'all. It really did. It scared the bejeepers out of me. And because of my beliefs. And in no way, shape, or form do I expect someone else to share my beliefs. But 37 years at the time of this video and having my first paranormal encounter be witnessed by my mother and her friend around the time of a young art teacher being murdered in Trenton, where I'm from. And they kept it hush, like me showing signs of having a shining. If you're familiar with the movie The Shining, then you understand what I mean when I'm referring to The Shining. And I talk a lot about omens and paranormal experiences, and they have been lifelong. And then more recently, I talked about, as I came to learn, understanding what a death doula does. And I have some qualities or experiences with that. And I've talked about it on my previous page about earworms, other signs, and things like that. When I'm talking about earworms, I'm talking about songs that play that just won't leave you. You're like stuck and hooked on them. They pretty much put you damn near in a trance. A trance. And I had an experience with that where the song was You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. And my neighbor was murdered around the same week that this song was like heavy, the whole Notorious B.I.G. album. It was crazy. And I was awakened from my sleep because of the shooting. And it was just so much with it. That video is no longer up, but I had talked about it. And this was somebody I grew up with in the neighborhood from being a child, you know? And then another time before that was here having an earworm with the song I Love You by the Whispers. And my cousin who I grew up in the house with, her special male friend, um, I ended up getting news later by the end of that week that I began having an earworm, news that he had passed. Because we didn't think he was in his 70s. And we anticipated as a family that, it was possible he could die of a broken heart once my cousin had passed. Because they was two peas in a pod, okay? She was in her middle 50s when she passed, but they were like this, and he was always sweet to us. And in that 24 hours though, within that 24 hours of receiving that news, more obvious and eerie omens was appearing to me, like with crosses, which denote, the cross between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. Um, Things breaking, falling, trying to get my attention. And it goes much deeper than that too. But I ended up getting the news right after I began calling family members, just like with the knocking. When my brother-in-law passed the morning after the wedding, and I had called around the morning of the wedding, to as many close family members as I could about is anything wrong after being awakened in the early AM hours after 5 a.m., home alone in my bed, sleep, with the bedroom door locked, that something knocked from the inside of the house. And it was so creepy because I was alone and nothing, not a wall, not a door, could have made the sound, the three knocks that I heard. And like I said, I did my due diligence of calling around, but I was too late. And that could be a sign that you're too late, right? And that's a whole nother other when you go look into these things about knocking with doors. And I remember my last encounter with my brother-in-law, and we were having sort of telepathic communication that he knew what, as I said in the video, I wasn't what had been, the way my name had been smeared for no freaking apparent reason. I wasn't what he was, the things that he was told about me. And he couldn't understand how did I know to come and appear when I did, when no one had called me. But I had received the message to come and help. And this was like around back to school time. But something actually did contact me. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's not crazy to me because it's been my whole life. And I remember having an asshole full of money and something said, help your nieces and nephews. And I remember turning to my mom and telling her, and we were on board and we did what was necessary and got it done. But he couldn't explain, how the hell did you know? But we developed a different level of respect when we locked eyes and no words were said. And anyone who has a cat knows that cats are telepathic. I don't give a damn what anybody believes. You can call me crazy, whatever, but it's tried and true, baby. And telepathy does work between humans too. And you don't have to be close to have that bond. I'm talking about in close physical proximity to detect need, danger, or any of it. Or love, simply love and care. Right? So, yeah. So 1 week to the date of today, that person told me that somebody had knocked on that door and I was concerned because she didn't see anybody. And that's a sign of a visitor. And she couldn't tell me how many knocks it was, but it surely creeped me the hell out. And I'm angry now because her life was taken. And I didn't know that that was going to be my last time seeing her. And it's chills coming through my body right now. And I'm going to tell y'all, I don't know how long this video is going to be up for because I'll be going through it with monitoring spirits. And, but something in my spirit be like, put out, but just be careful. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Just all I can say is I don't know. But don't be surprised if I have more videos where I come on and share. But it's crazy because the theme last night with my sister, and I told y'all this is how it all works. Within hours up until these things happen, there are things that will appear, and I am not assigning meaning to things that have none. They're just really in that order. And if you are introverted and very observant and able to sit with yourself, it's easier to pick up. And the theme up until midnight this morning was about death, sharing what we wanted to be our last song, me and my sister. And we exchanged that we knew other family members in the nuclear family circle. We knew their music that they wanted. And I talked about the paranormal, some of the things that I already explained to you here about how, well, one of them I didn't mention, which was someone who had visited my home, who was a friend of the family. I felt a benevolent spirit enter my bedroom and touch me in my kitchen hairs in the back of my neck. And I ignored it and went and took the nap that I came to get. And when I awakened, and the first thing I like to do is roll over and check my phone on the nightstand. And first message I saw was that this person had passed. And I knew that I had been visited by a loved one. So I hope this helps someone who needs validation, support.